What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22 My Team Career Mode. We're in Season 4, 2 races deep, and we just got a race win at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It was a pretty strong race on our side. We had a few hiccups regarding pit stops and things like that, but we managed to close out the win regardless after making a couple of overtakes towards the tail end of the race. If you haven't seen that video, I definitely I always say recommend. I can never say the word recommend accurately. I don't know why, but in any case, I would recommend checking it out and recommend checking it out if that is a real word. I don't know what it would mean. Maybe it means like to re-mend something that you've previously mended. I don't know. In any case, we're now at the Australian Grand Prix, and yeah, this is a reasonably strong race for me historically. We had a DNF here last season. And maybe even, yeah, we had one the season before that as well. But I DNF'd from a strong position. I think I was in P3 when I DNF'd here last season. Or maybe P4, I can't remember. So that's going to be sort of the target again for this race. You know, we have, I think at this point, we actually, if you saw there, now that we've got those engine upgrades, I think we have the fastest car on the grid. You know, we're going to be strong in the straights. We're going to be strong in the corners. There's kind of nowhere that we're going to be particularly lacking in. We're waiting on one more engine upgrade to get on the car. And then we will have a maxed out engine, maxed out aero, maxed out chassis, and all we'll be waiting on is durability. Unfortunately, as you're about to find out in just a moment, I've given the game away a bit here. I thought we were going to be fast forwarding through more time than we were, but that's okay. I guess we're doing a pit equipment upgrade to try and avoid any of the hiccups that we had in the last race, and that will be on the car in a couple races time, hopefully. Yeah, we failed the engine upgrade because I got greedy and I tried to rush it to get it on the car for Australia. And now once we have the resource points, it's probably not going to be until Imola in a few races time that we actually get that upgrade on the car. So we're going to have to wait for that to happen. So yeah, we're pretty much maxed out. We got one more engine upgrade to get done, and then we'll be finished. I don't know what happened there. I think I must have been messing around with my joysticks or something, but it looked like my character had like a tick or something like that. It's kind of weird. Yeah, we are the fastest car, irrespective of any issues we have. It's pretty close at the top here. You can see actually between us, Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Alfa Romeo and McLaren, it is very, very close. Alpine are not too far behind, and it looks like AlphaTauri are trying to close the gap to the top 7 as well. So it looks like it's quickly becoming a distinct top 8 teams, and then the bottom 3 are just kind of there to make up the numbers. Not too dissimilar to sort of 2010 or something like that, when you used to have your Virgin, your Lotus, and I think it was HRT at the time. Obviously not hormone replacement therapy. Hispania Racing Team, I believe, is what it was short for. Yeah, those 3 teams basically were just so far afield of the rest of the grid that they used to be out in Q1 every single time, no matter what happened. And that's kind of what has been happening here. With Haas, Aston Martin and Williams, they are not getting any Q2 action whatsoever at the moment. Very unfortunate for anyone who has moved to those teams, which I think at the moment is Magnussen obviously moved to Aston Martin, but he was at Haas before. Then you've got Piastri, who moved to Haas, and I think that's it driver wise in those teams for people who've moved to those teams. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate for those guys, but Piastri had only done half a season before he signed for Haas, and that was with our team, and he wasn't particularly competitive with us either. So yeah, I guess it makes sense that he would sign for a sort of backmarker team. It'll be interesting to see if we get any junior drivers at top teams that aren't Jaguar, basically. See if we can get some competition from drivers who aren't currently on the grid. Maybe we'll get Schwartzman or Lundgaard or someone like that, maybe Fittipaldi making a move on the back of someone like Alonso retiring, or maybe Ricciardo or someone like that. But it's a long way to go before we think about retirements this season. Yeah, we now are into qualifying, and we're into the first lap of Q1 on a fresh set of softs. I'm going to try and make it through using one set of tyres only. We set a 1:16.6, and we'll see if that is good enough to get us through to Q2. I think it should be alright. It's not particularly fast in the end. It was only good enough for P11, but it was pretty tight at the top. Pourchaire actually goes fastest by 5 thousandths of a second. So that's testament to the fact that we have the fastest car. You can see Pourchaire is incredibly strong in that Jaguar car. Maybe even stronger than us at this point. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to keep doing personnel upgrades. Eventually, he no doubt will be a lot stronger than me. But yeah, for the time being, not the case. You can see, as expected, like I said, both Aston Martins, both Hasses, both Williams are out, and everyone else is through. And yeah, I think things will probably get a bit more mixed up once we get to Q2. I doubt we'll be seeing 5 teams in the top 10. I imagine we'll be seeing a few more sort of teams, maybe one Alpine, one McLaren, that kind of thing. Usually it's a bit more all over the place. Used set of tyres for our first run in Q2 gets us a 1:17.0. It's not the best lap in the world, but it definitely will do for now. And yeah, we improve by 8 tenths, 9 tenths as we come up to the line, and that should hopefully see us through to Q3. We go a 1:16.1, I think that was, and in the end it was good enough for a P3 in Q2. So yeah, if we can get P3 in Q3, I'll be very happy with that. Ideally, I want to be getting pole, you know, at the pace of our car, and we weren't a million miles off the top 2 of Verstappen and Leclerc there, but I think we're going to need to showcase a bit more pace in order to achieve our goals. In the end, it was actually both Alpines, both Alfa Romeos, both Alfa Tauris eliminated in Q2. So yeah, only 5 teams making it through to the top 10, the shootout for pole position. Zhou Guanyu sneaking through in that Mercedes. He's not having a terrible season based on the performance of the car, but I don't think he's going to be challenging for championships and race wins like Lewis Hamilton once was in that same seat. Yeah, we now move into Q3, and we're on a used set of softs once again. We set a 1:17.0 once again, like we did on a used set of softs last time out in qualifying, and we've just got one more run that we're going to be doing to see if we can snatch that elusive pole position from the hands of whoever's got it at the moment. We're in P10 right now, so we want to improve, but that will mean kicking our teammate down to P10 if we do. I go a little bit wide through the penultimate corner there, and then as we come around to the final corner, you see I actually do manage to make up quite a lot of time. We're about a second up on our first lap, and we cross the line. It's a 1:16.0, very close to being in the 1:15s, and it's good enough for P3. So yeah, I'm not too disappointed with that. Hopefully we can challenge in the race with that, with tyre strategies and things like that. But yeah, unfortunately we were just not quite quick enough to challenge those top 2. I think there definitely probably was another 10th or 2 in the car. I just couldn't extract it to grab that pole position. But at least we out-qualified Norris, so that means that in the rivalry we will be extending our lead on him even further than we've already got. I'm not too disappointed with Pourchaire getting P10, even if ideally I would have liked him to be sort of maybe P6, P7 at this point. Some tracks are going to suit him more than others, and the only way to sort of make him a specialist in all tracks is to improve those facilities to Spec 3, which none of them are at that level yet. It's going to be 15 million to get the pace one up there. I think I'm probably going to upgrade the experience one first, because that's only going to be 3 million, and then we'll get the pace, we'll get the racecraft awareness and focus one. That's going to be a total of 25 million. So hopefully, worst case scenario, we'll have those facilities by the end of the season, and or by the start of next season at the latest, and then we can really truly have a teammate fight. Hopefully, maybe even he'll be too strong for me to fight, and I might have to bump the AI down even further than it's already at, because 100 rated teammates in this game are no joke. That's all I'll say. Well, 100 rated drivers, I should say. But really, the only way that you ever get a 100 rated driver is by making them your teammate and giving them incredible facilities. So yeah, but Pourchaire doing everything that we want right now. Really, you know, he's been sort of challenging in the points in these past couple races. He was unfortunate in Saudi Arabia. I think he had some kind of problem, maybe some contact or something like that. But if we, you know, can improve his awareness and his racecraft and things like that, then hopefully he should be able to start having some stronger races where he has fewer incidents, and he can be getting into the points more often. And now it's time for us to get into the race.
The crowd are here, and it's brilliant to see them lining the track here in Albert Park. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. Welcome everybody, to the Australian Grand Prix. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. The close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Robinson, Norris, Carlos Sainz, and Perez. Russell, Ricciardo, Joe, and Théo Pourchaire. Ocon, Lundgaard, Pierre Gasly, and Fernando Alonso. Schwartzman, Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, and Alex Albon. Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Well, it seems they had nothing to say in the build-up to this race. Natalie Pinkham not interested in giving any insight on this occasion, but that's okay. I can give my own insight. If we lose out to Leclerc in this race, we will probably lose our grip on the title, at least for the time being. He will take over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. So what I need here is a good start and to be challenging Leclerc into the first corner, so I can slowly get away from him as we move through the race. But you know, we have to start first to make sure that we are able to do that, and we'll see whether we can get a good start or not. And now, as the lights come on, and the lights go out, and it's a pretty good start. We're already alongside Leclerc off the start, but through the second phase, you can see he is significantly faster. I guess he must just be, I don't know, upshifting quicker and then somehow not spinning out the car or something. I don't really know. If anyone knows how to be even better in the starts than I am, which I feel like I'm okay because I warm up the tires, and that helps. But otherwise, I really struggle to sort of keep pace with the cars through the second phase of the start. I just assume it's due to upshifting and things like that. And these guys are able to sort of feather the throttle in a way that that allows them to sort of stay straight and not wobble about all over the place while they're upshifting. But I'm not 100% sure. In any case, we switch to the replay camera now as we move on to lap 3, and you can see this is Pierre Gasly suffering a DNF, and yeah, that's the end of his race, unfortunately for him. AlphaTauri, who are starting to come back at the other drivers around them. If you watched my previous season 3, you will remember that in the first few races, AlphaTauri were an incredibly strong team, and Pierre Gasly was even on the podium actually I think it was the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. He finished P2 on actual merit and pace. So yeah, they're not a team to sort of snuff at or anything like that. They actually are a pretty strong team who have broken through to the sort of top few teams in a few of these seasons. We briefly got challenged there by Sainz into turn 1, but we managed to hold on to the position, and now I think we're going to be under pressure from Lando Norris, who's managed to overtake him in the ensuing laps. And yeah, we're going to have a bit of a task on our hands to keep him behind. But I'm pretty keen on the idea of keeping him behind, because we're currently dominating this rivalry, and the stronger we can be in this rivalry, the closer we're going to get to upping the difficulty and making this even harder for myself than it already is. For those of you who don't know, the way that it works is if I win a rivalry, I bump up the difficulty by 1 point. If I lose a rivalry, I bump it down by 1 point. I started on 90, I've lost 9 rivalries and I've won only 1. So yeah, we're currently on 82, and I don't really want to drop it any further than that. So I'm going to try and start winning these, put everything I can into them. We don't have any pit stop problems this time. 2.9 seconds is not too bad, and yeah, that's gonna allow us to stay ahead of the likes of Russell and Norris behind us, and yeah, keep hold of this keep hold of this P12 at the moment as it is, and P3 net P3 I guess as we move forward. You've got Verstappen and Leclerc up front. They're a bit far ahead, so I don't think we're going to be catching them before the end of the race, but I've been wrong about that kind of thing before. I think we had that with Russell in China last season when I was very confident I wasn't going to catch him by the end of the race, and then we ended up doing exactly that. Now here's the big ones. Are we going to be coming out ahead of Carlos Sainz and Perez? Actually, Sainz is ahead of us, but we're going to try a little bit of a switchback, a bait and switch. We're going to be burning the battery as we go around the outside of him, and yeah, we have the pace to out-drag him down into turn 3, and that is going to allow us to retain this net P3 once the rest of the cars up front have pitted. And yeah, now as we move through, actually Verstappen had some kind of issue at some point in the race, which meant that he had to pit again. I think he might have had contact with a back marker or something like that, or at least some traffic that hadn't pitted yet. It might not have been a back marker. That's probably harsh of me to say, but yeah, he's had to pit again. So his season is not going very well at the moment. Generally, Red Bull not having a particularly strong season, which is good news for us who are targeting P3 in the Constructors' Championship. We're currently P2, and I think, you know, if Red Bull are not having a strong race and Mercedes and McLaren aren't really capitalising either, this is only going to allow me to extend the gap even further at the sharp end of the Constructors' Championship up in P2. And you know, maybe we can, if Porsche starts banging in some good results as well, we could even be looking at potentially challenging for P1, depending on how Leclerc and Sainz are driving in this championship. Leclerc is pretty strong right now. We're not really catching him, and Perez is slowly closing us down behind, so I'm going to need to pick up the pace a little bit. I do set the fastest lap there, so that was something at least, but you know, still a few laps to go, and as we fast forward a few laps, you see I haven't really made any progress on Leclerc, but the good news is that Perez hasn't really made any progress on catching me either. So if I pump in these lap times consistently, we should be looking at a P2 finish in this race, which would be incredibly strong, and we'll also get a bonus point for fastest lap if we're able to hold on to it for the remainder of the Grand Prix. I do think about starting a sort of push to try and catch Leclerc. You see I get the gap down to about 3 seconds, but yeah, unfortunately I'm not quite fast enough over the course of the whole lap to really catch up to him. So I think I may have started this push a little bit too late, and I think P2 will be the best that we're looking at in this Grand Prix. So yeah, we you know, having a pretty strong race. You see I have caught Leclerc a little bit as we move on to lap 27, but all that is going to go away now because I have just taken a corner a bit too tightly, run over the curb, and taken a bit of floor damage. So yeah, I think we're just going to have to try and hold on to P2 now and not let that damage compromise us too much as we switch to replay camera, and you'll see in a second which driver we're looking at. That is Carlos Sainz, who is starting to slow down as he comes onto lap 28, and that is a brutal result for him. He was only 2 laps away from finishing, and yeah, the car has given up on him. I'm no stranger to that. We had that in a few races in Season 2, and also a race in Season 3. Actually, this very race in Australia, the car gave up on, I think it was lap 25 or something like that. Really gutting for us, but you know, what can you do? And yeah, that means that the gap that Ferrari pull out on us in the Constructors' Championship will be very minimal, if any, depending on where Porsche finishes. If Porsche is P6 or higher, then yeah, Leclerc won't have extended the gap for Ferrari at the top of the table. But he will take the lead of the Drivers' Championship as we take P2 and cross the line. And yeah, that's a pretty strong result. I would have liked the win. I would have liked to finish ahead of Leclerc for the Drivers' Championship, but I'm not going to complain too much about a P2 finish. It's still a good result.
So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions, and perfecting the team strategies. They got all those things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Yep, indeed. Leclerc and Ferrari take the victory here, and that'll be a piece of silverware to take back to the factory in Maranello, and we are left second best, but we weren't challenging him pretty much all race, so I can't be too disappointed with that. I think you know, sometimes you have the pace to fight in these kinds of races, and sometimes you don't. But like I said, as long as we're getting consistent sort of top 4 podium level finishes, we'll definitely be in a shout with the Drivers' Championship.
Take him to the top of the championship standings. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Guan Yu Zhou is my driver of the day. I was impressed by his strong performance throughout the event.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So with that, we move ahead, or sorry, Leclerc moves ahead of us in the Drivers' Championship by 6 points. But it's still pretty tight at the top, all to play for. Théo Pourchaire was pretty strong there and managed to grab onto a P8 finish at the very end of the race. So yeah, he gets 4 more points for us, and he's doing pretty much everything we need him to be doing in this championship so far, in my opinion. Like I said, all I need is just him to be scoring, like I said, maybe 100 points over the course of the season, something like that. And if he's capable of doing that, we should be in with a shout of the Constructors, well, probably even with a shout of the Constructors' Championship, but definitely P3 in the Constructors, which is something that eluded us last season. I think Ferrari just took it because Ricciardo didn't have a particularly strong season, and Sainz was comfortably outperforming Ricciardo, even if Norris took the Drivers' Championship over Leclerc. So it was a split championship in the end, and yeah, I imagine this season we'll probably be looking at something similar to that. Another Constructors for Ferrari if things keep up the way they've been going, but hopefully I can be the one to shake things up in the Drivers' standings this time around. We'll have to see how the next 18 races this season unfold. 19 even. This is race number 3, isn't it? Next up is going to be China again, which is a strong race for me. I had a good race there last season. Ended up winning the damn thing, and we were performing quite well in season 2 as well. Even when we were in a bad car, we were challenging for sort of P5, P4, that sort of territory. So yeah, I see no reason why we won't be able to go on and win the Chinese Grand Prix again in the next race, next video. And yeah, after that we've got a few sort of weaker tracks for myself. Things like Imola. Miami actually is an okay track for me. I don't really know. No Spain on the calendar this time around, so after Miami it will be Monaco, and then you got the likes of Canada, Baku, the street circuits, which yeah, I think it could be a difficult phase of the season, but if we can make it through, then we could be looking at having some really strong races beyond that. So yeah, I definitely think we're in a good position so far, having had a strong start to the season. If we can get that win in China and reclaim the lead of the Drivers' Championship, I think we could be in for, yeah, having a really competitive time against the other drivers in this championship. But I said that last season, and then after China, our performance kind of fell off a cliff and never really reached the same highs that it had in the first 4 races of the season, apart from in that Austrian Grand Prix, which of course we won as well. And that's another race where I'll be hoping to repeat that feat this season. The floor damage costs us about 12k to repair, which is a shame, because that's a little bit of money that we're not going to get to sort of boost personnel, facilities and things like that, but it's okay. And yeah, that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.